Hey everybody, welcome to the MD Power Hour with myself, Ron Harris, and Giles Tiger Thomas. Today we're going to be talking about the Tampa Pro coming up this weekend. It's actually a 3-day event. We're going to be discussing and covering 2 days worth of it, Friday and Saturday. Open bodybuilding, 212 bodybuilding, classic physique, women's bodybuilding. But let's get started. Open list just came out late yesterday, Giles. And we were both a little disappointed. We only saw 7 names on there. And we've been talking about this for weeks now, this trend of smaller open bodybuilding lineups. And it is starting to get a little disturbing, is it not?
Yes, it is. And you know what? You hear a lot of people complaining about these other divisions, all these new divisions. Oh, another new division. But look at the numbers with Classic, with even 212, with the men's physique, they're pulling the numbers. So if the athletes aren't going to be competing, the open guys and specifically aren't going to be competing and doing these shows, then why should promoters through the year, like Brian Bullman, he basically scrapped 212 because 4 guys turned up. He had Classic this year and 15 showed up the first year. So
Mhm.
what do you think the promoters are going to do now, where they've only got to choose 2 classes, and they want to pull the competitors and the audience and everything else and the support? What do you think they're going to do? They're not, and the thing is, obviously, it's more prize money as well for the Open, which they have to usually offer.
Yeah.
So really, if the pros, the Open pros, don't actually start getting off their asses and actually competing, because like guys like Martin Fitzwater, Steve Cookler, all these
Wow.
big names that are just kind of skipping years for whatever reason. A lot of them, where are all the Brits, where are all the European guys? And also, another thing I've noticed this year, the European guys are specifically sticking to the European shows, and the Americans are sticking to the American shows. The Canadians are sticking to the Canadian shows. Why aren't people willing to travel? I mean, I think in your career, in your pro career, I think some of the best things one of the best parts of being a pro is you get to travel the world, sort of meet new sort of fan bases, connect, and also see these different countries. Instead, they'd rather just do it like a 5-hour drive to do the Tampa or the New York Pro or something like that. And that's great. But I just think at least once every couple of years, why not support, because things, a lot of these, you got like Jake Wood and Alina Popa promoting Romania. You got Emilio and all these promoters are putting a lot of good shows on, and I think they're really missing out. And also when I speak to them, because I'm at like Romania and Prague, and when I speak to the Americans or the people who travel a long way to come and do the show, they always say they're glad they did it. They always, they said it was an amazing experience. They can tell everyone about it, and they can tell all their friends, and they're all going to come, and the other pros they know, and it's. But I don't see it seem to happen. So I find it really weird why everyone's just sticking to their own, when like the opportunities to travel is, for me, would be one of the biggest draws of being a pro bodybuilder, especially when like Australia, and I'd be doing them all. I mean, because when I was a amateur bodybuilder, I was traveling all over. I was doing this Mr. Scotland, the Mr. Wales, I was doing all the different federations. I was chasing the competition all over the place because I wanted to stand on different stages and all these different things. So I'm a little bit but I'm telling you guys, these open guys, I think you need to get your asses in gear, because I was shocked because I thought everyone was leaving it to Texas and Tampa. But it's I'm a little bit, I'm like you, Ron, I'm a little bit concerned.
Only 2 more shows in the United States after this that feature open bodybuilding that still qualify for the Olympia. So Tampa, and then Texas 2 weeks later, and then Legion is October, and that's it. So if you don't qualify there, you're going to have to go to one of those European shows. There's still a few more of those, but yeah, just as a side note, Jose Raymond, the thing he talks about most of all is the traveling. When he was talking to my son. My son was in Australia for a few months, and they were talking when we went to Gym Hub a couple weeks back. And Jose said, "Oh, Australia, he'd been to like not just like Sydney, he'd been all over. He had been to Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, all over the place. He's been to Asia, all over Europe, South Africa. I mean, he traveled the world, and these guys are missing out because when are you going to get the chance to see all these countries, and especially to build a good fan base? Because Kevin Leveroni talks about it all the time. The reason he feels his supplement company is so
There
popular
you go.
now is because he spent years going all over the world, making fans in places like Poland, Russia, uh, you know, the Middle East. And now those are the people that when he goes over there, they still flock to see him. They line up to buy his supplements. And
Ron,
Yeah.
he's reaping the rewards now from all that time invested, from all those flights, all those layovers, all those air miles. Do you know what I mean? So, and most of these pros, when their careers are all said and done, most of them are going to start supplement companies. Most of them are going to want to do coaching, and they're going to want to have clients from all over the world. And if they just stick to their own demographic and their own little area, their world is going to be a hell of a lot smaller, and the window of opportunity to make money and build things like supplement brands and clothing companies and stuff is going to be really limited if they don't put the work in now. And also, like some of the pros come over, like they do, like say Emilio's show, and they're like, oh my god, I had no idea that there was shows like this outside of America this good. And I'm telling you, trust me, Romania, I mean Prague, the money they spend on that show, I mean it loses money every single year, but the guy who runs it just runs it as a hobby because he just wants a spectacular show, because he's a very wealthy guy and he just wants to put on amazing events. He's like an ice hockey team as well, and it's a fun project for him. It's a passion project. So why not take advantage of that? And and also meeting new people as well. But like Jose now, there's he's probably got clients from all over the world, and he's got all these stories and all this experience to tell and everything. It's I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. But yeah, I kind of feel bad for Tim on this one as well, actually. I mean, obviously he's got good numbers in the bikini, and he always has very good numbers in the amateurs, and his shows are very, very, very. I mean, God, I mean, some of the numbers. I mean, when I went 2017 Tampa, I mean, God, the amount of people that are there, just in terms of competitors, let alone the audience, he does very well at these shows. But I do want to see better support from these divisions like the Open. I think it's also potentially with guys leaving it to the last minute as well. You run the risk of guys leaving it too late, then getting beat by an Andrew Jack or a Hunter, and then they've run out of opportunities to compete, and then you don't see the big names in Olympia, and that's something we don't want to see as well. In fact, I saw Regan's doing the Flex Classic. Is it in Spain?
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's just started prepping for a show over here in Europe. So Milos posted it this morning. I saw it this morning. So I mean, but Regan, if he doesn't, if he leaves it to the last minute and just chooses one show and somebody really good swoops in, then we'll see Regan not at the Olympia again this year. So guys, you need to think a little bit more carefully about how you plan your shows out.
Let's get into Tampa. I had heard that Andrew Jack was doing it. I don't see him on the list. We're recording this on a Tuesday. So if he is added to the list between now and the time we do our preview, yes, we'll see a great battle between Hunter Labrada and Andrew Jack. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait until Texas to see that confrontation. But as of now, he's not on the list. So I really don't feel comfortable having him in the conversation as far as Tampa.
Do you think there's maybe been a couple of conversations about behind closed doors saying, okay, then Hunter, you turn up looking good, you're probably going to win Tampa. Andrew, maybe you just turn up looking good, you'll win Texas, because at the end of the day, they are the top 10 Olympia guys. They are on paper the most successful statistically. We've seen their progress videos. They're looking absolutely fantastic. So unless they do something, they're really the shoo-ins to win those two shows. Because I was expecting to see both guys in both shows. And we know with Andrew, he likes to surprise. He did it at the Arnold when he jumped in at the last minute when the prize money jumped up. Yeah. And what other show did he do? The Arnold UK last year, which I didn't expect him to do after he'd won Texas. So you told me that just before we started filming. I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew jumps in this one, because he likes to do this. So I'd be interested to see if he does.
It'd be even more interesting if one of them, say Andrew wins both shows or Hunter wins both shows.
There you go.
And then the other one's screwed out of the Olympia this year, unless they do something on the show. But and these are all, you got to envision every scenario. But the one you laid out was quite the conspiracy theory, the behind closed doors thing. I don't know about that, but
yeah, but it's kind of like, at the end of the day, look, let's just lay it on the table. Really, this is Hunter's shows to lose. Really, I mean, I saw that video, and I'll be honest, right? I was up until recently, I kind of was on the Hunter is a bit overrated.
You definitely were.
I'm sorry. A lot of people, I thought maybe some of his placings, I don't really feel like, and a lot of the hype and a lot of people going on about how good he was. I just didn't feel it. And then recently he posted that progress video. I think it was last week. And I put it on Hot News and Global. And I was really surprised. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, holy shit. Like, this was a couple of weeks out. And the condition I was seeing there was the condition I've never seen before from him. the glutes, they're like the dryness, and he's added a bit more density as well, which makes everything look harder and more detailed and grainier. And his rear lat spread looks sensational now. Sensational now. The radial bicep, which I thought was always going to be a poor pose for him, like the stuff going on in his arms and his shoulders, I was like, holy shit! I was so happy to see this. But yeah, I'm kind of riding the Hunter train now. I think he's really leveled up this year. And it's funny because I didn't see it until this recent progress video. I didn't see it. I was like, everyone's going, he's dramatically improved. And I said on here, I said it on Global. I was like, I just don't see it. I don't see it. And then all of a sudden, boom, he gets a bit more fat and water off, and then everything started to appear. All the work he put in and all those improvements started to show.
Well, we've said it many times. We're both condition snobs, and you're even more so than I am. So I think it took Hunter reaching that next level of conditioning for him to really impress you. You're not easily impressed. You've been around, you've seen the best for decades. So yeah, this is his show to lose. This was actually the scene of his pro debut 3 years ago, Tampa Pro. He won that. And it's been said the only shows he's ever lost are Olympias. He's won every other show in his life that he's competed in. Well, he's only done, amateur shows. He won the nationals, and he won this, he won Chicago, and he's been top five at the top four at the Olympia. What was he, eighth last year?
Eighth, fourth, seventh.
Eighth, fourth, seventh. Wow, you're good, man. So yeah, I mean, this is most likely where he picks up his qualification, gets back on the train. So I fully expect, unless Andrew does jump in at the last minute, there's some really good people in the show that are going to push him hard, but I still think Hunter is the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember I had William Bonac and Rulli on together on Global a couple of years ago. This was I remember it was April 2021, and I said, come on, guys. I said, you've been around a few years. I said, there's a lot of these new guys coming through now. I said, who do you see coming up on the inside lane that you're kind of really taking notice of and sort of, really carefully watching? And William just didn't even flinch. He just said, Hunter Labrada. I actually went, really?
Wow.
Really? Yeah. And he was like, no. And he just went like he knew something. He's like, no, trust me. He said, this guy's good. He said, he's gonna be causing us trouble. And he was right.
Totally. So another name that's not on the list, but Daniel at Bodybuilders Without Borders, great reporter for the sport. He did post that John DeLaRosa is jumping in. So John just took second to Justin Shire. Let me say it right, Shire. I got in trouble because I said his name wrong at the end of the very end of the interview. Someone busted me. Justin beat him. Patrick coaches Jonathan, Patrick Tour, who we just had on.
Yep.
And it's TUOR, guys. It's not tour like Tour de France. But Jonathan looked fantastic in his comeback, and I think you could have made an argument for him to win. I think it was very close. I don't think that Justin blew him away by any means. Was it 3 points? So
no, the top three was close.
Top three, you're right, very close. So Jonathan, I still think Hunter's the favorite, but Jonathan's going to push him very hard. Jonathan's got a very complete physique. For a comeback after over 3 years away from the stage, I was impressed that he nailed the conditioning first time out. A lot of times guys need a couple more shows to get their groove back, but he's right there. I see him pushing Hunter.
I think John's another guy that's probably going to be, who did I say a few weeks ago, the victim of the removing the point system? I feel like John's going to be another victim of that because I think he could snag second here. I don't think he's got it in him to beat Hunter this time. But I do, yeah. I think I think he would have been another guy that probably, if he did another show after this, probably will do Texas. Maybe might do a show in Europe. I think he probably would have been one of the guys that had enough points to qualify for the Olympia. And I don't know whether, unless he does maybe the shows in Europe or something, gets a win there. It still possibly could get a win because he looked really, really good. And like I said, that top three in Chicago was very, very close. I felt like it could have gone, anyway. So he's nearly there, but he's going up against, one of the top heavy hitters at the moment. So, and I don't see Hunter slipping up at all from what I've seen. So I think he could get second. But I'll ask you a question, Ron. Do you think he looks better for having those 3 years off? Do you remember him being this good? Do you think he's not as good, or do you think he's better than he was the last time we saw him?
I don't think he's necessarily improved, but where was he going to improve on? I mean, he's already had all the size he needed. With Jonathan, it was always a matter of conditioning anyway, as far as I was concerned. It's not like I ever saw, oh no, he needs a back. It was never a body part issue. It was always conditioning. And there were a lot of shows where to me he was just that close, just like a little bit of film, another like 5-10% more conditioning. I think he would have blew it away because I saw him take second and third at many, many shows. I've seen him win a couple shows too. But typically when he didn't win, he was just a hair off. I would have liked to see things a little clearer and crisper. Separation with him, especially.
Yeah, separation, because he's a
Separation.
big. Because when you see him actually like in a t-shirt or you see him up close off stage, like you kind of realize just how big he is. There's something about these real top level pros, and you see them up close, and they're just their arms, like the thickness of their biceps, and he's one of those really, really huge guys. The kind of guys like reminds me like Justin Compton.
Yes.
Remember, they just when
Mhm.
they relax, they almost look soft because their muscles so round and full. And he's one of them, so he has to kind of almost he needs to be one of those guys that needs to almost sacrifice a little bit of muscle tissue to get the deep separation. He can't like if he comes in 10 pounds heavy lighter, he's going to look 10 pounds bigger because he's got that kind of quality muscle. So I'd be interested to see if he's sharp because I thought he peaked really well in Chicago. So it's like he started off really well. So I mean, can he get better than Chicago? Do you think?
I mean, that was 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. You can
Tall, he
sharpen
was
up.
separated, he was hard. I mean, did he need to be leaner or?
Can you ever be too lean? Really? Can you ever be too
Uh,
shredded, too dry, too detailed? No. I mean, I assume he and Patrick have been working on getting even tighter and more shredded because it's one of those things you never reach the upper limits that most people never do. But I'd be
and I think
interested.
probably the second as well has probably given him a little bit of validation, a bit of encouragement, a bit of confidence because, you can be out for a year and your confidence as a pro can be shot.
Mm.
Like I've spoke to these guys and, they can be nervous when they don't compete for 1 year. So if you're out for 3 years, and the thing is, we've had a real, like you think about in the last 3 years since
Mm.
2020, like the top 10 Olympia has almost completely changed.
Mm.
It hasn't. Remember, like sometimes you get like sort of 5-6 years, and it's the same top 6 Olympia, the same top 10 Olympia. But we've had so many new guys coming through. I spoke to Ian Gawley on Global. It's out tomorrow. Sorry, by the time you watch this, yesterday.
Yeah.
Ian Gawley, the Canadian, and we talked about there's been an influx in the last couple of years of really good tall bodybuilders,
Mm.
and also there's been a real influx of really good bodybuilders in their 20s, which kind of is a bit of a change of the trend because a few years ago, the
Mm.
top 6 Olympia guys were pretty much hovering around 40 plus.
Yep.
And it seemed they weren't hitting their peak. But now in the last 3 to 5 years, I'd say you've got like a whole crop of these 20 somethings that are good now that aren't kind of, oh, well, they'll be good in 5 years by the time they're 30 or 35. They're good now. So, yeah, so it'd be interesting. So with John, I imagine his confidence has taken a real boost by getting that second. And like I said, that top 3, he could have won that. And so he's right there. So I think all the rust is gonna be firmly gone. Do you know what I mean? He's gonna shaken that off, and I think we're gonna see an even better version this weekend.
So Daniel on Bodybuilders Without Borders also said Blessing was doing the show. He's not on the list. I don't know if he is or not. He hasn't said anything on his Instagram about it. He did not display proper condition at this Chicago Pro. It was not the Blessing that we were hoping to see. And that was only 2 weeks ago. He did not look 2 weeks out. To me, he looked realistically. If I was a coach, that's how I would want my athlete to look at about 6 weeks out, 5 or 6 weeks out. Yeah, I mean, I'm being realistic because I think he's got an excellent physique. It just wasn't conditioned. And I don't know if 2 weeks would be enough time for anybody, even the greatest coach in the world, to come in and go from that to a winning physique in 2 weeks, because that was a good amount of body fat that he was carrying, water and body fat.
So, because I looked at it and I thought it might be water, but you think it's actual body fat because you and I know you can get rid of water in a week. Realistic. If you have a good dry out, you can come in. We've seen guys like Phil Clayhigh in 2 weeks go from 11th to 2nd, and in like 2 weeks, if it's water, 1 to 2 weeks, you can do miracles. But if it's fat, like you said, like I thought he looked about 4 weeks out, you think he's 6 weeks out. That means that you think that he's got fat to lose.
I mean, who knows? It's hard to tell the difference. All I know is there was just there was not a lot of separation. There was not a lot of detail. It was almost like guest posing shape. He was happy that he came in big and full for once, but being big and full doesn't mean anything if you're not in condition. I'd love to see him 100%. You know, the way he looked last year when he won Indy Pro and New York Pro, that was very close to what I feel his, you know, he still needs a little bit more legs and everything, but that was close to what I feel his potential should be. And that's where in that condition where he won those shows last year, he'd be a top 3 guy here, no doubt in my mind. He'd be fighting for this, but I don't know. And I don't know if he's got a coach yet. He did say on his Instagram post that he realizes now that he does need a coach, just someone to guide him through the final weeks and everything. I don't know if he's hired anybody. I got to talk to him soon, but I don't know if he's in the show or not. You know, that post indicated that he was, but we'll see. You know,
well, I said to you last week, didn't I? I said I'm no, the week before Patrick, when we did the Chicago preview. I said to you, I said I'm nervous. When you said he's coaching himself, you see my face drop, and I went, Ron, I'm nervous. Now you've said that, I'm nervous. I was right to be nervous because I don't understand why a guy at that level, who's done it with a coach, and he knows the kind of level of conditions expected of him, because he's not the biggest and thickest, and those guys especially need, like, his legs aren't huge, but if they're shredded and separated, like Vince Taylor. Remember Vince Taylor in the 90s? I actually saw his legs up close, and they weren't actually that big, but when he flexed them, all the separation, the deep separation, the small joints and the big calf, it kind of made everything kind of pop. But so if you don't have deep separations and you don't have the biggest, thickest legs, then they just look terrible. They look awful. So, and to be honest, if I was any coach worth their salt, would probably turn him down now, because if it is fat and you can't get that off in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it's been, you can't get that off, and you know, and you can't do that, then at the end of the day, it's if he doesn't look marginally better or look as good as he did, say, when he won Indy, then the coach is going to get blamed for everything. So it's a really tough one. So you're going to have to get someone that really is willing to say, okay, then. And the thing is, like we talked about it last week with Patrick Tour, you know, about the making weight or getting into condition safely, when, like, someone like him, he's got to do drastic things if he's only got 2 or 3 weeks. And that can mean, you know, kind of dangerous things with, like, you know, with the body, not just things with diuretics and stuff like that, but, you know, excessive amounts of cardio, 0 carbs, you know, I mean, you run the risk of going into serious, like, exhaustion, and bad things can happen when you push the body that much. So it's like a guy trying to make weight for 212 or classic, you know, we've seen it many, many times. So I do worry, and also the stress as well, because it's very stressful to think, shit, you know, when you look at the pictures, you're like, oh no. I mean, really, I'd like to have seen him pull out of this show and maybe just do maybe one, like one of the European shows. I think he's perfect to get ready for a European show. Say someone like a Chris Aceto or Patrick Tour or something got a hold of him and said, right, okay, then realistically, I need minimum 4 to 6 weeks to get you in proper stage condition where you can actually come in and win a show. And I think they should pick just one show, maybe one of the shows in Spain or France. When's the Legion?
Legion's October, but yeah, we have Europe. Europe's got a lot of shows he could choose from. Yeah. Geez. So in the month of
wasting
September,
his time doing the show. Ron, I'll be honest, I'll say it now, he's wasting his time doing the show, because
I don't know if he is doing the show. We don't know if he is doing the show, but that's the rumor.
If he is, and he's trying to crash down in weight, he's going to lose fullness, muscle, and he's probably going to look. The chance that he's going to look a lot worse and not better is very great. So I think he just needs to take a step back, look at his physique realistically, get with a coach that will work with him, you know, and say, right, okay, then you've got to pick a show, but you can't pick one of these ones this week or next week or in 2 weeks. You know, give me at least 4 to 6 weeks and we can do something here. But all this trying to jump with a coach 2 weeks before and panicking and stressing, I think it's a really bad move, and I think it'll do a lot to harm his brand. So I think he needs to just hang fire a little bit and get his ass back in condition. Otherwise, this year is going to be a complete washout.
Let's turn to the dark horse for this show. Not to you, because you're aware of this guy. Lewis Breed from the UK. He's been in the United Arab Emirates, where Dubai probably, I'm guessing. Went to Dubai, put on a ton of muscle. He's a freak. He's shredded. And I think he's going to be someone who comes out there, and a lot of the fans are going to be like, who the hell is this guy? This guy looks nuts. And I don't know if he can beat Hunter Labrada, but my goodness, he's got a ton of muscle. just that mature, grainy, detailed look, density. I think he's going to shock a lot of people at this show.
I think he's going to be top three. Like I said, if you what day is this coming out, Ron?
Probably Thursday.
Okay, so yesterday Global came out with my interview with Lewis Breed, the day before he flew out to Tampa, because this is being recorded on a Tuesday. We filmed it. He flew out to Tampa yesterday on Monday, so he's actually in Tampa right now.
Okay.
As of time of filming. Oh, don't turn my phone off. Yeah, so yeah, I grabbed him for an interview. Gave him a good 25-30 minute interview, and because he posted that progress video, and I put it on the MD group chat, and like I said, what I was like, holy shit. I mean, the shoulders, the stripiness, just everything. I mean, because he said, it's funny because I reposted the graphic from the rotator from when I had him on Global a few months back, and he said he declared it there, and I quoted him on the post, and I said he said, I'm coming back 20 pounds heavier, and I'm going to do Texas and Tampa and shock the world or something. And I think that's exactly what he's done, and I think he will do that this weekend. I think he could. I'd be interested to see him next to John DeLaRosa. I don't know whether he can beat Hunter, but he will get a call out next to Hunter. And we actually discussed this in the interview. And I said, I'll tell you what, I said, you probably will get a call out with Hunter. And this is before I'd even seen the lineup. I said, you probably go, I said, I think you'll beat Blessing, because like I said, at the time, I thought Blessing was definitely in.
Yeah.
I said, I think you'll beat Blessing. And I said, I'd be interested to see you stood right next to, in a comparison with Hunter, because I think you're going to shock people. I think you're going to compare very, very well. I don't know whether he can beat Hunter, but I think I'd be interested to see. I think it'll be very close between him and John DeLaRosa. So I think John, Lewis, and Hunter's my top three. And like I said, Lewis could be, like I said, anywhere in the top three. Well, second, third. I think second and third. Like I said, I think Hunter's got this.
If you take second, Hunter, this is a guy that's been top four at the Olympia. This is the guy that's being talked about as a future Mr. Olympia. So if that's what happens to Lewis Breed, it's a win, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but he looks really good. He's put the size on, and he's because between him and his wife, they've got 6 kids.
Oof, good Lord.
Yeah, so he said, I said, look, I said, you've really, because we talked about it a lot in the interview, and I said, you've really pulled a Brandon Curry here. And I said, was seeing what Brandon Curry did from 2016 to 2019, from the last Olympia to first Olympia, I said, was that a factor in you choosing to do exactly the same thing, Dubai instead of QA, go to Banus Gym? I said, was it? And he said, oh, it was. He said, seeing what Brandon did actually played a part. And he said it was, and like Brandon, it wasn't him that gave him the push, it was his wife. So, and there's a couple of times he's actually wanted to come home, and he missed his family that much, and his wife has actually got on the phone and says, no, you got to commit to this, you got to follow this through. Yeah. You're there for a reason, and he stayed out there, he's worked his ass off, and it's worked. And I think he's really gonna shock this week. And for me, I'm most excited to see what he's gonna bring.
Oh. Another guy who's very good is Joel Thomas. I saw him a few years back, win the Legion when I was there. Another guy similar to DeLaRosa, shorter guy, very round, full, thick, dense muscularity, massive legs, some of the best calves in bodybuilding. I know that doesn't really matter much, but still, it's nice to see. Joel, when he's in shape, is very, very good. He's got very nice structure, shape, and plenty of mass. So I expect him to do pretty well.
I like Joel. Had Joel, he tore his pec a couple of years ago.
Right, that's right. He told the whole story on Global, I remember.
Yeah, and he because he's like ridiculously strong on bench. He can do like four plates for like 20 reps. It's something I'm sure it was like 20 or 30 reps, something like like Larry Wheels-esque, like crazy amount. And I forget the story, but he told the story on Global. But in fact, seeing him, I saw a post yesterday, and because I felt like he was at the Olympia.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was at Olympia. Yeah, he did, but he just didn't kind of like stand out. He didn't really look that great.
That's right. He was
good as when he won the Legion the year before. But he felt like, because his calves are so big, his quads look weak next to them. But he's brought the quads up. He's got nice sweep on the quads now. I haven't seen the glutes and the hams, because for me last year, I felt like certainly the Olympia, that was an area where I thought, okay, that's an area he really needs to improve on. But yeah, I like Joel. He's a cool guy. I've had him on Global twice, I think now, 2 or 3 times, and I'll have to get him on again. But yeah, he'll be a solid top 5 guy.
Okay, next guy from my area. He's done a few pro shows now. Nasty Nate Spear. Nate always brings a condition. Very hardworking guy. Always, he just did. What did he just do? Wasn't he just in the
2 shows either?
Chicago. He just did 2 shows, so he's rolling right along.
New York Pro in Chicago.
There you go. Thank you. I remember New York. I couldn't remember if it was Chicago. These shows are all a blur to me. But yeah, Nate never disappoints. He's someone you never have to worry if he's going to be in condition. That's his calling card. So looking forward to seeing him get a nice call out here. Very cool, soft-spoken guy.
Nate's someone I need to. I've not done my homework on. I'll be honest. I said that the other week. I said, as someone I need to start studying, because he's one who's kind of snuck up on me a little bit in terms of how he's been looking. I haven't kept my eye on him, observed him as closely as I maybe should have, and I feel bad for that. But yeah, he's one that's coming up on the inside lane. You know, he's kind of sneaking up there, isn't he? But he's definitely improved, and I think he's done better than I expected anyway, given what I followed about him. But yeah, I'm going to get him on Global again soon. But yeah, I think he'll be one of the guys to round out the top 5.
Another guy, last guy in the open, we'll talk about Roy Evans, a former classic physique competitor. Very beautiful shape, as you would expect from a classic physique pro, but he's added a little bit more size. So let's see how he compares here with these guys. This is it's only 9, 8. Well, if Blessing's not in, it's 8 guys. So it's not a huge lineup. So everybody should get a really good look. It's not like anyone's going to be languishing on the sidelines waiting for a call out for 20 minutes.
Would they do one call out?
They did at was it Chicago only had 7 guys?
One call out.
Or 6 guys. Which show had 6 guys? Was it Chicago? It was one call out. Everyone was on stage together. And that's easy. Everyone get out. Everyone just get out there. And then they just moved them around to put Justin, put the top 3 guys in the middle. So I mean, it's a convenient way to do it.
Who would you like to see in this show? But what are guys like Justin Rodriguez, Mohamed El Imam, Martin Fitzwater, Steve Bucklow? Who would you like to see in this show? Also, who's not qualified that you'd like to see kind of get their arse moving now, because otherwise they might leave it too late? Who would you like to see?
Fitzwater for sure. Fitzwater, I don't know if he's taking a whole year off or he's jumping into one of the later shows, but if you look at the top 10 of the Olympia, most of these people are already qualified. Hottie's qualified. The top 5's already qualified. Yeah. That's Hottie, Derek, Nick, Brandon, and Rami. They're all set. Yeah. Samson was 6th. He's qualified. Yeah. Hunter was 7th. He's probably going to qualify here. Andrew was 8th. Andrew jacked. He needs to qualify. Bonac is sitting out for the season. Yep. And Rafael Brundeo, is he competing? I think he might be done for taking the year off.
Brazilians, they keep pulling out shows, don't they?
I don't know what's going on. And Krizo is already qualified. He was 11th. I'm sorry. No, Ian was 11th. He's qualified. Krizo 12th. He's qualified.
What about some of the guys from the Far East, some of the Japanese and the Korean pros? What about all the guys from Egypt? Because there's a ton of good pros from over there.
Charles Griffin. What about Charles Griffin? He's been looking phenomenal in all his posts.
Forrest Peck.
Recently?
Yeah. Bad.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Too bad. He was looking crazy.
Yeah. What about British and Europeans? I mean, the Europeans seem to be sticking to their. I mean, really, it shows you what a good job someone like Emilio and João Henrique from Portugal are doing, because it means these guys don't want to fly too far because they know that there's a good show that they can compete in. But I mean, Andrea Presti last year and Theo, remember they both went over and did the New York Pro. Yeah. So they did great. Was it 2nd and 4th or something? 2nd and 5th. So
tell me this, Giles. Do a lot of European bodybuilders have it in the back of their mind that maybe they're not going to get the best look if they do an American show? Do they have that belief?
I think they like to wait till they feel they're ready. But I said to Lewis, you've done pretty. I said, you're out in Dubai, but you're from England. Yeah. You got all these European shows, Italy, Spain, France, and Portugal. I says, and yet you've decided to go to America because he's staying out there until Texas. He's not coming back.
Good.
He's not doing a Samson and flying back and forth every bloody day. So I said, you do take some balls, and he said, I kind of wanted to wait till I felt like I could go out there and really do some damage. So because otherwise it's a long way to go just to make up the numbers. Do you know what I mean? So you have to. It's almost like their confidence has to be high enough. I mean, I think pure, as an athlete, if I was a European pro, I think just pure curiosity would get me flying out. I mean, Vlad, why is Vlad not doing something like one of these shows? Why is he leaving it to, I mean, I don't get it.
I get it. I do get the point that Emilio and some of these other promoters they're doing such a fantastic job putting on shows in places like Italy, France,
Yeah,
Portugal, Spain. Why would you fly? Why would you go all the way to the USA if you do have great shows to choose from that are only like a 2 hour, 3 hour flight away? So yeah, I mean, it's a testament to how great the European shows are becoming and what
yeah,
reputation they have for quality that these guys don't even feel the need to leave the continent anymore
yeah.
to get a good look.
I
And I
just
mean,
like that's why like last year. What I remember the Europe, all the Egyptian guys seemed to be doing Mohammed, Shaban. They were just doing show after show. Hassan Mustafa. They were just competing and competing and competing, traveling all over the place. I mean, bloody Mohammed. He did the Arnold. He did all the shows in America. He did Chicago. He was doing all the shows in Europe, and I was just like, wow. I mean, some of these guys. I mean, look at Samson. I mean, Samson was flying all over the bloody place trying to get qualifications and points and stuff. So I kind of it's kind of cool, really. But I don't know. Maybe I'd like to see a bit more crossover, and vice versa as well. Because like I said, when the Americans come over and do shows like Romania or Prague or the some of the European Spain shows, they're always glad they did.
oh yeah,
They always say, when I speak to them after the show and they're having some food, and I say, so what was this? Was it worth coming over? And they went, oh, every single time, bar none. They always go, absolutely. Brett Wilkin, when he came over and did the Romania and Spain, and then he stayed out there until he got the qualification, and then he got a nice early qualification in. There's a guy that it paid off. So. Yeah, it's cool.
so 212 division only gonna. There's a few really good guys here. Looking at the list, I guess the favorite here is the we call himself White Gorilla, Diego Montoya. He's been
Yep.
he's just had a couple very close calls. Second in New York to Kareth, second in Chicago to can't recall who won the 212 in Chicago. Anybody? Anybody? Anyway, he's a very good bodybuilder. Everything you'd want in a 212 competitor: size, shape, conditioning. So few good names on this list, but that's my favorite, Diego Montoya, the White Gorilla.
Oh, he's
Um,
your favorite to win.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, because I had him on Global a few weeks ago. I had him on again, and remember I cut the interview short after 10 minutes because the guy looks absolutely wiped out, and he was really like he just looked like he was dazed, and he had I think his little girl was there, and I think he just got back to the apartment, and then we managed to catch him for a 10. Well, I wanted like 20-25 minutes. And I actually said, mate, I said, no, I'm going to cut this short. I said, you need to go get some sleep. I said, because if you lose the show, I says, and you could have, you're not fully rested. I said, I'll feel bad. I'll feel responsible.
right.
So yeah, but he again, because he got second in the New York Pro to Kerith, then he got second to John Jewett in Atlanta.
John Jewett, yeah, Atlanta. That's right. That's right.
Atlanta. So yeah, and he obviously that was like probably the all-time best John Jewett I think we've ever seen, and he's been fourth in Olympia in 2019.
Yep.
So so if he's tightened up a little bit more, I'm hoping, because I think we're getting frustrated now. He's not nailing the condition, and I think I spoke to Patrick, and Patrick knows that Diego's capable of getting a little bit crisper, a little bit harder, because I think when he does, with the amount of size he has and the fact he doesn't really have any weaknesses, he's going to look absolutely. I mean, he should. Yeah, an absolutely shredded Diego would win this quite clearly, but it just remains to see if he is dry and shredded. Because if he isn't, then he's going to get beat. So again.
So another guy that's on the list, probably going to do very well, Yuman Eaton, who I meant to the last preview we did. I meant to mention him. I meant to mention him for Chicago because I believe did Chicago he took fourth or was it Atlanta? I don't know why I keep
Fifth.
fifth, and I think he took fourth in the other one. So very good. I know Jose used to coach him. I'm not sure if they're still working together. I probably should have checked on that. But Yuman, very good shape, structure. He's a very solid 212 competitor. So is Toto De Jong. Seen him many times from California. Very, very good physique on that guy. And you just let me know about I didn't realize Mohammed Mbabi. I wasn't familiar with him from another good Egyptian coming out who's you think he's capable of winning this?
Yeah, I do. He's really good. Yeah, he's really, really good. He's one of these guys that I'm glad he's doing a high profile show like this in America, because there's another guy from, who's obviously, because they wouldn't be coming all this way if they weren't confident. So, and I like to see guys that know kind of how good they are, and they like to really test themselves in these kind of shows. So, yeah, I think there's a guy that absolutely could win this if Diego's not bang on. So, I think top three, yeah, Yuman, Mohammed Mbabi, Diego, and also Jason. How do you say that last name?
Oh,
Remember Nguyen? It's not spelt. It's not said like that, is it?
what did you say?
He,
Jimmy the Greek?
he's Canadian. He's the guy who's prepped by I've just had on Global.
Anyway.
Here in Gawley. He preps him.
Okay, so Jason, oh, Nguyen, I think it's NG.
Yeah.
It's a Vietnamese name that I've never been able to pronounce.
And the open guy has. What about that open guy from Cali? And Nguyen? Why isn't he doing this one?
Question. Yeah, he's very good. I don't know where he's been. We don't know what's going on in these people's lives, whether, maybe now competing isn't their priority. What about we got Rob Taylor from the UK, who I hate to always bring up the Irish incident, but he's the guy that won that show in Ireland, the muscle contest that Brian Bowman promoted that you were at last year, and he's a good 212. But what do you think his chances are? What does Rob need to bring to this show to get a really good look and maybe even win?
Well, when he did Ireland, because he was 220 on stages and open in 2021. I'm sure that was the August 21 NPC European. I did the live stream commentary with Lauren. Yeah. And he was 220 there. He got top 10 there and some good call outs. And then he decided to come down to 212. And then when I saw him at Ireland, I saw him at the hotel. I think he overdid it to try and make weight and ended up coming like 200 pounds or something. He weighed in or something. I'm sure it was 199, it was something like 201, where he was really under, where he should have been really on the cusp. So he probably over dieted a little bit, like a bit for that one, because I felt like he lost a lot of size off his arms and his back. Because the thing is, I've seen him as an open, so I know that size is there. So it's just a matter of getting the balance right, getting somewhere in the middle, regrowing those areas and just getting that fine tuning, that balance of conditioning and fullness. Because really, if you're 220 on stages and open and you're in good condition and you're getting a pretty decent placing and a good lineup, then really you should be coming on kind of on the limit. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, you're literally probably sacrificing 10 pounds of muscle tissue, to stand on stage when you don't maybe need to. So yeah, it'd be interesting. If he peaks right and he comes in a little bit heavier than he was in Ireland, and like I said, gets the back and arms back, then yeah, he'll look good. Very good conditioning, fantastic legs. And he had that problem with the something with the skin, something. So he had some issues. He couldn't finish the show. He had
that just happened. Was that one of the European shows?
Happened to him where there was some sort of reaction with the tan or something. Yeah, he had to be pretty much carried off. Bloody, he posted a video of him being like literally.
He posted a nude back shot with the butt showing, like but you could see the blotches. It looked like a horribly painful rash or something. It looked really cringy. I want to congratulate the men's physique guys. They're not afraid to compete. There's 32 of them in the show, so they win. Bikini had good turnout. Classic has 29 guys. Here we go. See, Classic guys. There's no shortage of classic pros competing. Few really good ones. We got new kid, Matt Grego. He's only, I want to say he's 24 or something like that. He just took second place in Atlanta. Very good. Amit Roy from New York, Justin Miller's client for many years. I remember Amit doing very well at a lot of shows like this. I think he did, I can't remember which ones he won, but he was either winning or taking like top 2 and 3 in a lot of shows a couple of years back. Amit, originally from India. Amit, he needed more size, and I think he took some time off and added the size. So I'm curious to see if he can bring that condition that he was known for.
Bengal Tiger.
Bengal Tiger, that's right. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, he's very good. And then we have the UK's Kelvin, is it Hinde? Hinde?
Hinde, yeah. He's because he got an invite to the Masters Olympia.
Oh wow.
So he's kind of obviously good because that's in 4 weeks' time. So he's I completely forgot he was doing this actually, because I just had it in my head. He was just doing Masters Olympia. So I suppose if you're in shape and a few weeks out and you want a warm up show, because he did a ton of shows last year. I think he did trying to qualify for the bloody Olympia last year. I think he got so close, and I think he missed it by like 1 point or something on the point system, and he didn't quite get to the Olympia. But he said he nearly bankrupted himself traveling all over the place trying to, and he was getting seconds and thirds and seconds, and then I think he didn't do too well at Prague. I think Prague was where he kind of really slipped. But for me, I was sat there next to the judges doing the live stream, and it looked really, really good. But it was a really tough lineup. But he got a lovely physique, and nice to see a Brit up there.
Fair enough. So this show also has women's bodybuilding. Wings of Strength always has a really big presence at the Tampa show. They always have a booth with all the top athletes and everything there. So really good lineup. Some of the names in there that you guys should recognize. These are some of the top women bodybuilders in the world. Michaela Aycock from Florida, Julia Fowry from Switzerland, very good. Teresa Ivanchik, LaDon McDay. Those are just a few names I recognize. So it's a good warm up for a lot of them are probably going to move on due to the Wings of Strength show in Phoenix, where it's 150 degrees every day now. No, they had 20 days in a row where it was over 110.
No, 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 no,
We're
no.
beating every record in the world. So great show there. Yeah,
Lizards dying of heat stroke.
how hot is it over in UK right now?
Not very hot. It's been well. It's actually it's cloudy now, but yesterday it was just torrential rain, absolutely chucking it down. It was. Like I've got all this. I bought all this chicken and big packs of chicken and steak because I want to do the barbecue. But it's like I've opened the doors. And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Giles is a grill master, guys. If you didn't know this yet, he got a grill a couple months ago, and he's been sending all kinds of pictures of videos of this delicious food that he's been grilling up. So a lot of protein at the Tiger Towers lately.
I'm an expert now. I've done it 3 times.
Do you have the propane, or do you have what type of grill is this? Just for the grill?
Old school. It's a cheapy one. I got it. It was like 50 quid or something. I got it, but I put it together myself, and it's really good fun actually because you don't even have to put anything on the chicken or the steak or the. I've done lamb. And it's once you learn how to do it, and then you put everything in Tupperware containers, you've basically got all your meat there for probably a good 3 days. So obviously me and Lauren and then I just get some sweet potato and some greens and, and I make up my meals with that. But the chicken tastes amazing. You don't even need to put seasoning on it. And then when you do, it's amazing. It's just, I like the fact it's just, you can eat so clean and you don't have to put any crap on it to make it taste nice. So I'm all about the barbecue, Ron.
All right. So I want to let people know where they can get more information. Go to timgardnerproductions.com. There's a pay-per-view. If this comes out Thursday, this is actually a 3-day show. Thursday, day and night is all Masters pros, every division, 35, 40, 45, 50. It takes all day and night to get through them. And there's a few people doing the Masters Olympia who are jumping. Like I know Vinny Galanti from New Jersey is jumping into the over 50 for this. Friday and Saturday days, we are doing coverage. These are Eastern Standard Times, guys. So to let you know, Friday, 8 in the morning is the first round of judging for female bodybuilding, fitness, swimsuit round, women's physique, and women's figure. 11 a.m. is when I wake up I'll be up before that, 212 bodybuilding, classic physique, and men's physique. And then the finals, check this out. You don't have to stay up late at all, guys. 2 p.m. finals for the first round of the female athletes, 4 p.m. finals for the 212 classic and men's physique. Should be all done by 6 o'clock Eastern. I love that because then he does the NPC show after the NPC finals. Saturday is the big day for open. 11:30 is judging, 11:30 a.m. for wellness, bikini, and open bodybuilding. And then the finals for everything Saturday start at 3:30, which is 8:30 p.m. there at Tiger Towers in the United Kingdom. So we won't keep you up too late this time, Giles, I hope. Yeah, I remember what was the show we did where you were up till like 1 in the morning with us, 2 in the morning.
That was only a few weeks ago, wasn't it? I was up till, and by the time we stayed on the live for ages, and I think it was a good 2 or 3 a.m. by the time I got to bed.
Was it that wasn't Chicago? What was that?
What was it? I can't remember.
Was it Toronto?
All the shows blur into one with me now at the moment.
Yeah, it was, but poor Giles. It was like you're like me at the end of the Olympia days where we're all at dinner and I'm like falling asleep at the table like a little toddler.
Hey Ron, last night doing chest, I did all my basic movements, all my free weight movements, and then I thought I'd finish off with the machine. And when you're like pushing off the palms and then you put your elbows up because you just try to get that contraction. And I wasn't even training heavy. I was just doing that and really squeezing the chest. All of a sudden I heard something pop in my forearm.
What?
So there's no bruising. I don't think there's anything torn. I was like, when I heard it, I was like, oh shit.
Point to it. Show me where it is.
It's just literally in the mid part of the forearm. And it's not the one in the vein. It's not the scarred one. It's the good one.
You look like you're pointing at your bicep. You sure it's a forearm?
No, right down the middle of my forearm. That's really, really tender and really sore. It's a good job I got legs tonight, really.
Jeez, I've never heard of that particular area. I mean,
no, by chest. I was doing chest, and literally as I was straightening out of the movement, it just went twang. So
very scary. It's happened to me. Well, you're still young. What are you, 44? I ask you this every week. 47? Because your Instagram your email has the number 79 in it. So I always think you were born in 1979.
Oh, it does. No? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. You're right. On my Gmail. Yeah.
Yeah, you must have been lying about your age at one point. So
76
anyway.
I was born, 76.
The bicentennial, 200 years for America. Yeah. Freedom from Great Britain. Anyway, look where it got us. Anyway, so, all right. Well, that's going to wrap it up, guys. So please join us Friday at those times. We're going to be doing wrap-ups after the judging and the finals on both days. If Giles, you can join me, of course, I'd be very, very grateful. So you can get Mike Cox in on there. He's going to be at the show, I believe. So we're going to have some really good commentary. And we have you guys on the live. We're going to be looking at the footage. You guys can give your opinions, call us geniuses, call us morons, root for your favorites, do whatever you want. We have a good time when we do these things. So please join us. Yeah. And that's it. And of course, if this comes out Thursday, go back to this channel, look at the MD Global Muscle episode that posted yesterday. It's crazy how we have to kind of figure out these time things in our head. But great guests. Who were the guests in this one? We had Aaron Gowley.
Yeah, Aaron Gowley, part 2 with Milos, obviously that one, and Lewis Breed.
Oh, awesome, man. So great episode. And you'll catch Lewis Breed right before, a couple days before you see him. Probably for most of you, the first time. I bet a lot of you guys never even heard of Lewis Breed. You're going to know exactly who he is after this weekend. Guarantee you. So that's it. Giles, thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, turn your notifications on YouTube and also on your phone so you know we have all this great content coming out. And that's been another awesome episode of MD Power Hour. Catch us next time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.